All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages. When you're thinking of ending your marriage, so sometimes I talk to guys who, man, they just feel like they can't do it anymore. They feel disconnected from their wives. Maybe their wife's been unfaithful. But yeah, a lot of times it's more, they just, man, feel like they're doing so much and their wife isn't really returning much in return as far as connection or attention or appreciation or sex. And they're just not sure. They're thinking about divorce. Maybe their wife doesn't even know they're thinking about divorce. So kind of talking more to those guys today. Also a little bit about, if your wife was unfaithful, some things around that. So my name is Mike Fraser, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach, and I help high-achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So some wins from guys in my program, the Strong Men, Strong Marriages program. Guys are having increased communication, collaboration, and teamwork. So yeah, a lot of times when you're thinking about divorce, you just don't feel like you have that. You don't feel like you have teamwork. You don't feel like you communicate well. You definitely don't feel like you're working together on things. So guys are turning that around and having that connection so that marriage is fun again. Wives are starting to feel like they don't have to do it alone anymore. That was a quote from one of the guys in the program. And they're opening up and committing more to the marriage because of it. So yeah, again, when you take the leadership role and you see your place and you start making things better, like I was like that guy, right? Saying, oh, my wife's not doing anything, I'm doing everything. Kind of like, man, maybe I'd be better off with somebody else. Didn't really like thinking that way. But then I realized like I had to change a lot of things, and that's what really shifted things for our marriage. Guys are dating, they're going to concerts together when they hadn't for a while. Guys are drawing strength from God more than before. I love hearing that. The guys are having that connection. Guys are scheduling romantic getaways when it had been years since they'd done that. And for me, I've just been doing a better job of asking for and getting support from my wife. As high achieving guys, sometimes it's hard to ask for help, hard to ask for support, hard to ask for what you want. So I'm starting to do that a little more and give my wife the chance to be there for me. And she's really shown up, and that's been strengthening our marriage a lot. So if you're thinking of ending your marriage, right, infidelity is definitely one that it probably makes sense to be considering divorce. But at the same time, it's not always the solution, right? You can work through it, even if your wife was unfaithful. If you were unfaithful, right, that's, kind of up to her if she wants to let you earn trust back, and you got to focus on earning trust back. But again, it can be a reason to think of ending your marriage. Lack of sex, not having that physical connection can be hard. Like that can get you thinking, man, maybe I should end my marriage. That's where I was, years back. Lack of prioritizing you, feeling like she just doesn't think you're important or doesn't pay attention to you when other people do, puts the kids first before you, hugs them, doesn't hug you. It can get wearing. It can feel like too much. Feeling disconnected on goals, like you're not even going the same direction, you're not on the same page. Maybe there's changes in faith that have put you in that spot where you're not quite sure you're going the right direction anymore. Maybe you're getting some interest from another woman, right? Maybe at work or at church or wherever. And it's kind of like, this is nice. She actually is paying attention to me. She seems sexually interested in me. She's flirting with me. My wife hasn't done that for years. And so then you can start thinking, maybe the grass is greener. Maybe with this other woman, it would be better. And maybe you've even kind of gone and started a relationship like that. Maybe you're just feeling taken advantage of. Like you make the money and then that's all you're good for. Like your wife doesn't really care about anything else as long as you're bringing in the money. Maybe you're just feeling like, man, I get all the responsibilities of marriage with none of the benefits. So I know I used to think that phrase. I used to believe that phrase for myself a lot. Changes in faith, which we just mentioned. So, and again, like I've heard guys consider divorce. I've thought about divorce myself for some of these same reasons. Now, talking about infidelity specifically, so there's an important questions of forgiveness, faith, and trust. So if your wife was unfaithful, you can choose forgiveness, which I think is smart. And in fact, Jesus asks you to do that. He says, forgive others their trespasses, or Father in heaven will forgive yours. To me, forgiveness just means you're not trying to punish the person anymore. So, it's not that you forget it. It's not that you say it's fine or say it's no problem or anything like that. It just means, okay, I'm not going to try to punish you for that. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to rub it in your face. I'm not going to have an affair to get back at you. I'm not going to be mean to you. That's what forgiveness is. Okay. And look, that just frees you up. It makes your life better. Faith, is a decision too. Like forgiveness is a decision, faith is a decision. You can choose to have faith that your wife can be faithful, that she can make changes, that you guys can recover, and a lot of times that's a good choice to make. To give your wife a chance to earn trust back. But trust has to be earned over time. Okay. And you can't just decide to trust your wife. And if you try to, you're going to feel that tension of like, no, I trust you, but really you don't. So kind of you're lying to yourself. What you're really trying to say is like, I forgive you and I have faith in you. Like I have faith things can get better. But you can't trust her. She has to show over time that she can be trusted. And one of the best ways is to have her open up her, email, passwords, phone, so you can access things, verify the things she says. Okay, that's how trust gets rebuilt. If you're on the other side of that and she's like, no, I trust you, you need to tell her you can't trust me, right? I want you to have access to all of my stuff because I want you to verify what I say. That's how we earn trust back. Okay, I like to say trust is like a brick house. So you build that brick house over time, and a failure kind of knocks that trust down, knocks that house apart. And the way you build it back up is one brick at a time. And those bricks are promises made and kept. Okay, one promise made and kept at a time, that's how you rebuild trust. Right? Showing access. So when you say, no, I didn't text my affair partner today, you want that verified so that you can look at your wife's phone and just say, okay, yeah, you didn't. Right? And look, it really does depend on her willingness, and that's information for you. So if you're saying, hey, yeah, like you did this and I want access to these things, she's like, no, you just need to trust me. That's information for you to say, okay, she doesn't seem very willing to rebuild trust here. So what am I going to do, right? Am I just going to deal with that? Am I going to, make that request and boundary? Am I going to separate if she's not willing to do that? And we help you walk through all that in the program. It's not an easy thing to go through, and definitely requires some thought and some good questions. And I definitely recommend some coaching to help you through that. Now, the problem with the other ones is most of it is just whining and blaming her for everything that's going on in the marriage. You don't prioritize me. You don't care about me. You don't have sex with me, right? Like, it's all her fault. So what is that? It's a victim mentality, right? Other people will support me. You don't, right? It's also powerless, right? You've put your power in her hands. She has to change for me to be happy, right? So it's weak. It's unattractive, right? Because you blame. Nobody likes someone who whines and blames other people, right? Especially your wife when you're blaming her, okay? And the problem is if you do leave in this mindset, okay, you didn't learn how to be a strong man and how to create a strong marriage. And so you're going to create the same problems in your next relationship, period. That's just what is going to happen. So what do you need to do instead of just like, oh, my wife she won't do this. She doesn't appreciate me. She doesn't care, right? Listen, it's okay to consider and even give yourself the option to divorce. In fact, that was something that was important for me to do. When I was kind of in that mindset of, man, like, I'm not sure I want to do this, to really say, well, I could divorce. What does that include? What would that actually look like, with kids and all that? And then decide to stay or not, right? So you can make that decision. But also, first, you need to be the kind of man who will attract a great woman to him, okay? So, in other words, before you leave the marriage, you want to become a strong man, a man who's strong spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and sexually. So spiritually, you are a man of your word. You are someone who lives true to your values. You are, you feel like you have purpose and mission that you're driving towards in your life. Mentally, you can manage your thoughts well. Emotionally, you can feel and release your emotions in healthy ways. Physically, financially, and your body's strong. Sexually, using your sexuality in ways that are true to who you want to be. Okay, so when you become that, you're a strong man. You're going to attract a great woman to you. So the other thing you need skills to create a strong, passionate marriage. So in other words, you need to be able to communicate well. You need to be able to express yourself well, listen well, get to win-wins. You need to have intimacy, fun, flirting, passion skills. Okay, so if you don't do that, right, if you don't become a strong man who's internally strong, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, sexually, you don't have the skills to create a strong marriage, communication, intimacy skills, what's going to happen is you're going to attract a low-level woman because you're a low-level man in those areas, okay? And you're going to create the same issues in your next relationship, and you're going to have a poor relationship with your ex-wife, okay? That's your path, right? If you just go out whining, oh, my wife didn't prioritize me, she didn't care, she didn't listen to me, okay? You're going to create that same problem in your next relationship, period. So, first marriage divorce rate is about 42%, second marriage divorce rate 60%, third marriage divorce rate 70%. Because people will say, oh, we're just not compatible, or we grew apart. But the truth is, people just didn't learn how to have a good marriage. They didn't learn how to be internally strong and interpersonally skilled. Okay, that's what's happening here. So what do you need, right? Spiritual strength, self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence, knowing you're valuable. A lot of this, oh, my wife doesn't appreciate me, she doesn't care about me, she needs to have sex with me. It comes actually from a low self-worth that you are trying to suck attention, appreciation, affection, and sex off of her. I call that the mosquito cycle, to feel good about yourself, because you don't actually feel that good inside about yourself. You kind of rely on external things a lot, whether that's money or respect at work or things like that. And then when your wife doesn't give you that as well, you're mad, right? Because you need her to build you up. So instead, we want to base that self-worth on God. So we're coming from a full place. Self-esteem, the way you talk to yourself. A lot of high-achieving guys talk to themselves in kind of a negative way. That could have been better. That could have been better. You really screwed that up. And so when you beat yourself up like that, you need other people to build you up, right? And if your wife isn't doing it, you can take it out on her and get mad at her. But really, it's an internal problem of your self-esteem. And then self-confidence, which comes from being a man of your word, keeping your promises, right? And also building strengths and skills and going through difficult things and then coming out through it, okay? So you also need to manage your thoughts and emotions well. And look, if you haven't been through this program, you haven't learned what I believe is the best way to manage your thoughts, right? And see how those thoughts are affecting your life. You're going to learn a skill, you're going to practice it every day in the program and get really, really good at it with the best tool I've seen. And look, I'm a psychiatrist, right? I went through medical school, I went through residency, I went through a bunch of coaching programs. So I got to see a lot of different therapeutic techniques. This really is the best. Okay, I call it the mental strength model. It's really the best way. So you're going to practice it, you're going to get really good at it. And then in emotions, we teach some tools so that you can feel and release emotions instead of holding them up and then exploding, or just like not feeling at all, which a lot of guys kind of do one of those things. You need to have the ability to listen well, communicate well, get to win-wins, right? You need to be able to ask for what you want. And this is one of the biggest misses for most of the guys I work with, and something that I really wasn't good at for a long time, and I'm still working on it, really. Asking for what you want in effective ways, okay? A lot of times your wife is going to be surprised, like if you're like, I'm thinking about divorce. She'll be like, what? Like, you haven't even told me anything that's bothering you. Or, you haven't even asked me for what you want. Like, I'm willing to change, I just don't know what you want. You also need the ability to set boundaries, the ability to say no to your wife, to your kids, to your church, to your work. Like, say no because you know what you want and you're going towards that. Okay, a lot of guys are missing that that I work with. So being able to bring fun, flirting, and passion to the relationship. Sometimes high-achieving guys are kind of intense and we forget to bring fun or flirting, right? We're just like, well, I work hard and so my wife should appreciate that. But you don't like bring a fun attitude. You just expect her to like, be so happy to see you when you come home like mad or like feeling entitled to her paying attention to you. So sometimes we were good at it and then we just got stressed and forgot. But yeah, like you need to be able to bring fun, flirting, and passion to the relationship. So if you want to learn how to do this, look, there's quite a bit to learn, but we've created a program that can teach you all this and get you to a really great level in 90 days, right? Not years of therapy. We're going to teach you these things in 90 days in our program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages. So look, if you do decide to leave after going through the program, especially like if it's infidelity you're looking at, you're going to do it from a place of strength instead of a place of resentment, right? You're going to set a good example to your kids. You're going to have a good relationship with your ex-wife and kids, and you're going to create a great marriage later if you do end up leaving. Otherwise, again, if you don't learn this, you're going to create the same patterns. But really, like with most of these, outside of infidelity, like you really owe it to yourself and to your wife and to your kids to get these fixed, right? To figure out, oh, she's not, excuse me. If your main complaint's like, oh, she's not prioritizing me, or we can't get on the same page with things, or, we have a difference in faith. If it's anything like outside of infidelity, you really, her being unfaithful to you, right? You really owe it to yourself to come do this program. You owe it to your kids, you owe it to your wife, to learn this, right? And really try to figure things out, right? Figure out, well, what's my side of this? What do I need to change? And really change that and build those skills. Because look, if you do, especially if anything outside of infidelity, like most of the time, guys that come in that are in this spot, this exact spot, I'm thinking about divorce, you know, sometimes they even started like talking to a divorce lawyer for these reasons. Oh, she doesn't prioritize me. She doesn't have sex with me. We're not on the same page. Like if you can come in and do this, like in 90 days, your marriage can be totally different than it was, right? You can be connected, you can be strong, you can be having a great time together if you'll learn these strengths and skills. So that's the goal. We do have continuation after the 90 days too. If you need it, sometimes we do. But we get you to a good spot in those 90 days. So again, if you're a high achieving Christian man, making around 250K or more in your job or having 250K or more in assets, come join us in Strong Men, Strong Marriages. Visit strongmen.io or click the link in the show notes and let's do this, right? Let's get you to a place where you're really enjoying your life and your marriage and setting a great example to your kids while staying true to Christian principles. So stay strong, men. And again, visit strongmen.io, fill out an application. We'll talk and take care. Stay strong, men. See you next episode.